Clayton, Chris Rodriguez, obviously a big part of Kentucky's game plan, and he played a big role in the past 2 games against South Carolina. What do you got to do to slow him down?
Our players said it the best. Pretty much you have to he's a tough guy to bring down one-on-one. One, you got to do a great job of getting more than one hat to the ball. He's a NFL-style running back in an NFL-style system, and they do a great job of using his skill sets and talents.
Clayton, I'm curious. Zach was just in here and said Kentucky runs more of a NFL-style 3-4 and says it's kind of hard to run the ball against a front like that, north and south. What about that schematically makes it tough? I'm just curious what's hard about running against maybe a 3-4 odd front.
First and foremost, I think most teams who kind of implement that in their system is their style of players, their size of players, and their system. But to me, running against a 3-4 makes it hard because you got 3 big guys basically collecting up both A's and both B's. And I think that if I'm an offensive coach, that'll be going into it, that'll be hard on doing it, trying to run the ball. But for the most part, that's what people say. And the edges guys are pretty long and give you really good support on the edges.
Their receiver group is obviously pretty different than what y'all went against last year. Do they do anything different with those guys in the passing game, or is it kind of the same as far as scheme and types of plays and that type of stuff?
They don't do much different. It's more of a pro-style thing, and they got guys that's long and they can run and catch. Welcome to the SEC. That's pretty much how it is. Every week it's going to be a really good running back, a really good group of receivers. But these guys have done a good job of implementing these freshmen. Obviously, their slot receiver is a guy from Tech. I think that they're doing a good job of just plugging and playing these guys in their roles within this offense, and I think it's showing up for them.
And for your guys, how have the last couple of weeks allowed, whether it's younger guys or guys who are still trying to get up to speed with things this season, how has that benefited them and allowed them to kind of build and get ready for SEC play again?
The main thing is just technique and fundamentals. Even though, the first week we threw those young guys out there, their footwork was all over the place, their stances, their eyes all over the place. The past 2 weeks, we've kind of harped on, in order for us to even have a chance, we have to get lined up correctly. Our knees got to be bent, our eyes got to be in the right spot, and we got to react the correct way. So that's what we did the past 2 weeks against live action, regardless of who it was against. But those guys improved in technique, eyes, angles to the ball, and just communication things that we're going to need down this road as it gets tougher and tighter.
Hey, Clayton. From Will Levis, what have you seen from him just on tape from last year when you guys played him? And, how does he compare with a guy like Stetson Bennett or like KJ Jefferson that you guys have already faced in terms of containing him?
Yep. To me, first and foremost, hats off. I'm a football guy, so anytime somebody shows improvement on tape, I tip my hat to it. So watching him from last year to this year, he's an improved football player. So that means that I have to respect that as a coach. And just as a human being, he put some work in. He's a better quarterback. He's an NFL-ready quarterback. I think as far as containing someone like that, you have to do a great job of just staying within your game one. You can't try to put so much pressure on yourself to say we have to stop him because he has weapons around him. So I think most importantly, we have to do a great job of understanding his strengths and his weaknesses.
We've seen Bam Martin-Scott line up in quite a few different places, a little bit of linebacker, a little bit on the outside, some over the top. How has his game developed, and what does him being able to play in so many different spots do for your scheme?
Yep. So Bam's a guy who's a younger style player who's learning the defense, and he's smart enough to understand. He's just a football player out there running around having a good old time, and you got to love those kind of players like Bam. I think Bam is one of those guys who Bam. Speaking of Bam, but. So Bam Scott is a player that can run around and make plays for us. He's been a really good boost for our defense, and just guys love it when he's on the field. For whatever reason, he makes plays when he's out there, so that's good for him and it's good for us.
Clayton, as a former high school quarterback, how good was it to see Tonka do what he did in the 2-point conversion there?
Yeah, that was awesome. I was happy for Tonka, which we know he's a really good athlete. So once they snapped it to him, I was pretty confident he was going to score on that play. But that was a great job by Coach Limbaugh and Coach Beamer, those guys.
And I guess with Tonka obviously switching between playing interior and then going and playing some in, what are some of the challenges that come with doing that, especially in a game, and how have you seen him kind of embrace that a little bit?
you have to have the right mindset and got to be a smart football player, and he fits both of those. So obviously we were down at the ends position for a week, and we're still missing bodies there. But so Tonka will be a guy that can go in there on certain situations of the game. But he has the right mindset with everything he does, and it carries over to the football field. So I think that's the most important thing. His mindset is correct, and his upbringing is great. It's everything, seriously. So that's why he's able to do those kind of things for us.
How important is it for just the players to have a strong outing against an SEC team and really put together a full performance? Is that something that you guys talk to them about as coaches, or do they talk about amongst themselves? How does that kind of go?
I mean, these guys have pride. These guys understand, the conference. Obviously, we headed into SEC play again, and they completely understand it. And you can tell by just the work ethic. Really, I mean, to me, like, you should work the same amount. You should work hard like you did against Charlotte and South Carolina State and Georgia. It should not have changed. If anything has changed, that means that you weren't doing it the first time. That's not good. But guys can improve and get better and find better ways to get ready for this game as the season goes. We're going to need more and more and more. Just keep grinding away at it. I think our guys are. But for the most part, our guys have been giving all they can off the field in regards to trying to learn it and make sure they understand who they're going against. But it's definitely important. There's no doubt about it.
Clayton, how did you spend your free Saturday?
I mean, really, I woke up and I watched the 12 o'clock game. Then I went and did a couple of things with my family. Then I came back and watched the NC State Clemson game, and then that was it.
I guess, and how much from just the time away these last couple of days, the longer week, how much can that help this defensive staff in terms of game planning and having a little bit of extra time to watch film and kind of create a plan for this week?
Yeah, we had the Friday and we had the Sunday, so we gained, I would say, a full whole day of just sitting down, meeting and watching tape. And it's different when you're able to have game plan thoughts and then watch them play live on TV on a Saturday. So it's give you just a good feel in your head on some things that you need to do, and then you have the Sunday and then the Monday again. So we definitely gained a day and a half of just prep, and it was huge,
Clayton, I think you were first at Western Kentucky when Joker was the head coach of Kentucky, but I guess just having been in that state and coached against Kentucky in the past, I guess just what about that program is different now under Mark Stoops, and maybe from afar, what's it been like seeing how that program has changed over that time as well?
That's a good one. Threw me back there on 2010, Western Kentucky versus Kentucky. So, I mean, I would say the first thing that I would say Coach Stoops, and me and Coach Stoops know each other through some mutual friends. And when I worked at Stanford, we was on the flight together back in the day, coming from somewhere, Arizona, probably California. But just watching someone like that build a program, it gives you confidence. And if you keep sticking to it, sticking to your core values and believing in your staff and believing in the recruiting process and just continue getting better every year and just keep getting players. Got to get players, and I think it is nice to see that with the way college is going now. Coaches getting 2 and 3 years to make changes, and that's unfortunately not long enough. It's just nice to see that for us. As a middle-aged old coach, it's nice to see that a university is giving a guy a great opportunity to build a program.
Will Levis was asked the other day about their offensive line struggles to this point, and he pointed to the return of Chris Rodriguez as a huge help, complimenting him as a pass blocker. How do you plan around a running back like that who also blocks well, especially one who can then slip out and become a receiving threat?
Absolutely. So the way you got to plan that, you have to just make sure your players are very aware of each guy's skill set. So Rodriguez and Will, they've been playing together for a while. So obviously that's a comfort level, having someone behind you. Our guys have to know that he is a good pass protector. He steps up in the pocket. He will slip out for screens. So we got to be very smart on how we play. We just can't be overzealous and just run right past him, and then he'll slip him for a screen, those kind of things. But game planning wise, you have to just understand who you're going against and their strengths and their weaknesses and go from there. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Yep.